What's good, everybody? Welcome back for another BMF recap review show here at Big Old Belt Media, where tonight, people, we're going to be talking about episode 8 of season 3. This episode is titled Code Red. This one is written by Shaquayla Mims and directed by Crystal C. Roberson. Lucas, my guy, how you doing tonight?
Hey, man, I'm here. I'm still recovering. DC got attacked by pollen, and it's killing me, Joe. Man, it's killing me.
Hey,
But
go ahead.
let's talk about.
Go ahead and hit the super chats for my man Lucas tonight. Let's give him some Zyrtec, some Claritin, all of that. Nice little few donations so we can keep the party rolling. Because we got 2 more episodes after this one, and we appreciate everybody who came through last Sunday for our live show. And I know y'all was like, "Oh, please do the live show this week." We will do the live show for the finale.
There you go. Yes.
You know, that's the plan here. You know, we love interacting with you all, but you know, in the sake of being able to see these things a little early in order to prep, which we don't prep. We watch it, then we get on here. That's why I make so many mistakes, and y'all point them out. Like,
watching.
Yeah,
that's all. It's watching the episode.
That's it, and not waiting up until 12 o'clock at night. And I know y'all are there for it. If we was on the West Coast, it'd be a different ball game. It'd be a completely different. Man, I'm like, man, listen,
every week.
Every week. Watch it and then just jump on the live and still got time to hang out and do something. But you know, on the East Coast here in the DMV, man, that's brutal at night, man. Listen, Thursday night, like people ain't got nothing to do on Friday morning or anything. I don't know about y'all, but I know about us. But we not rocking like that.
Not there at all. Not a Friday morning.
Yeah.
But, you know, we'll put something special together for the finale.
Yeah.
Yeah. But not this week.
Yeah, not this week. But once again, yeah, we totally appreciate everybody and the love and support y'all give each and every week. Definitely. And coming through last Sunday. We announced we were gonna go Sunday like an hour beforehand. Y'all came out and showed out, man. So we truly do love and appreciate you all. But let's get into tonight's episode, Code Red. What were you thinking when you heard the title?
That's a good question. Code Red is like a warning sign that everything is about to fall apart. That's what you get at Code Red. Or, and my favorite Code Red of all time is when they did it to my guy in A Few Good Men. When he's, "You, Lieutenant Weinberg." Like, that's... But that normally means danger. If you get a Code Red, that means everything's in trouble.
Yeah.
And, I just didn't know who it would be the Code Red for. I didn't know if it would be for the BMF boys, it would be for someone else, if it would be for Charles, because Lucille has finally decided to move on. I didn't know who was going to get the Code Red.
All right, let's get into it. So we start off at the strip club, Platinum Palace. Man, I gotta tell you, man, I got some funny comments about Platinum Palace tonight, but I'm gonna wait till we get down later on within the show. But we see the MKs, they in there, Angel on Glock and them, as they said, because the first scene we see Angel on an MK. They make it very clear that like ever since she departed, she's been hanging with them. Meech is introduced to some new homies, and at this point, Meech gives this declaration about how they still going to have fun and get back to community and makes it rain. I got a question about that, but we'll come back to it in a second. But why he makes
the community?
You said it was?
That was giving back to the community.
I know. it's I'll get to it one second. But Glock wasn't happy about that because obviously I'll come back to that comment in a second too. But Glock wasn't happy about that. We see Angel over there with them, and Meech is approached by this other stripper who's like, "I'll make you forget that she ever existed." Here's my thoughts about this. Everything that Meech did in this first scene is kind of crazy to say, is in pure jealousy.
Of course.
And stunting. He's brushing off the Angel thing, but he definitely in his feelings about it. And Homegirl picked up on it. Him making it rain, trying to stunt for the homies in front of Angel. That's all this was. Giving back to the community. All of that was all for Angel. I was going to ask you, did you feel the same? Or is there anything else you picked up on this?
Did you not see the side eye through the glasses? Like, them glasses didn't hide that hurt. He was hurt. And he just started throwing money in the air to make it pay. I'm telling you, it's stereotypical man situation in the strip club, Joe. You can't get your heart broken. You get your heart broken, you're gonna make her feel like she lost a real one. And that was me just sitting there by just saying, nah, man, we're gonna take all these ones and we're gonna throw it in the air. Come on. Yeah. What was the purpose of that besides but I did like the pan of the shot where it focused on Meech, because then you saw like he was doing it because he was hurt. Yeah. Like he had feelings for Angel. Yeah. And to see her with his enemy really, really hurt him. And that's why he decided to please all other strippers. And just like a woman, the other one come up, I'll make you completely forget about her. You know they there. I swear it's one in every bunch. It's one in every bunch. Ain't nothing like for all my fellas out there for sure. Or for all my women out there who, get down also. Like, ain't nothing like the woman who wants to make you forget about the other woman. Boy, she gonna put in the work. He about to get her lunch pail and go to work on you to make you forget about her. So I love that scene. I love Glock reaction to it, because Glock also was mad because he like, dog, like I'm in here chilling, and this nigga just start throwing money, and you see all the other strippers look back like, oh wait a minute. Yeah, we in the wrong section. We need to be with that nigga there. Like it was a cool scene for the Platinum Palace.
Dude, I got a question. I was gonna wait, but I'm just gonna ask it now. Is there some type of like, how do you put this? Is there some type of code in the club where you're not allowed to pop off in the club? And hear me out, because they fight all the time.
Every time.
But Meech damn sure said we're gonna meet in a place where there's a lot of eyes and witnesses, and so nothing could go down. Let's meet at Platinum Palace. Y'all done fought every episode, and now this is a safe space.
Every week they fight at the Platinum Palace.
But I'm confused. If these folks truly want blood, are out for blood, and they know this is a spot that they keep meeting each other at, obviously no one's going to back down from it. But like, I'm just trying to understand, like, what's the logic knowing that you're going to run into it? Like Glock being mad and leaving out. It's like, well, what did you expect? This is probably the best case scenario of the night for you at this rate. It's always something's always gonna go down there.
I'm gonna give you an analogy that you're definitely gonna get, and it'll help you understand this situation perfectly. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Great. Did you see anybody not go to the Mad Chef? No matter how many times people was beefing with each other, did you not see anybody not go to the trade winds? No matter how many times they beat. And these are go-go clubs in DC. And you already know it's different sections of the city that go there knowing other sections of the city gonna be there that they beefing with. And they go every week religiously.
However, people definitely how do I say, categorize threat levels. So but you were not coming out of PG County going into the black hole if you had a beef. It just wasn't happening, because you already know behind the black hole, that's where they at. and you thought you were gonna walk your little PG butt in there and think it wasn't gonna go down. That's a different thing. There was some mutual territories, but I mean, this is like a location where you're seeing the enemies that y'all done put bodies down. Y'all calling for peace acts. But yet y'all keep running into each other. I mean, Remy done gave cut his man head off and deliver it through bottle service. I ain't never seen that. Like, hey, listen, last week they loved that.
That was a different level.
They loved that glove thing you said last week. So I was curious about what you thought about Claude's head being in the bottle service. You seen something like that before?
No comment. But let's just say again, I didn't grow up in PG, so I grew up in DC, and I went to the black hole. I went to the icebox. At one point in time, I was going to the Ibex. Cruz went in that jump. All you had to hear, especially where I'm from, is backyard, and they hit 640 where you had 6. And anybody who wouldn't win 640 knew it's on. Like they in here, and you knew coming out there because the black hole, icebox, all them jumps, one way in,
one way out.
Not one way in, one way out the club. Literally one way in, one way out the parking lot.
Yeah, I know.
You just gotta duck or get moving somewhere. So again, that's what I mean by I think it's people marking their territory between the MKs, Turkwood, and Meech. They all marking their territory. They all not going to back down. This is normal, actually, for clubs. It's just that I'm assuming Atlanta's strip club culture is closer for us to DC's go-go culture.
Yeah.
And other cities have the same thing. Baltimore with their house music culture, things of this nature. Chicago, probably they two-stepping. I don't know if they shooting while they two-stepping. But things of this nature where those beefs exist and people don't care. Because in the end, they don't care. They all know they're going to end up at the Platinum Palace.
Yeah.
How did it in a bottle service is what I'm like. I have questions. Like, ice on top of this and give it to them.
All right, so we get back to Terry's restaurant now. Hoop is there, and this right here was a very important scene for me because they talked about the plan that Terry put in place that worked with the Chaldeans, in which that's who Henry owes money to. He cut off Henry's all of Henry's connections, which means that her cash flow isn't the same, which means she can't pay back the Chaldeans. And it then further explains the Henry and Peach's connection and why Henry wanted to take her out, which in fact kind of made sense finally. I'm glad it worked out at some point because I definitely had questions about that. But Terry at this point letting Hoop know he has a different way of how he's going to handle this. And Terry has always been that sort of resilient person in terms of trying to figure out a plan, and obviously kind of driving episodes, storylines, and plots by Terry coming up with something that had never ever been introduced, or some alternate way of doing something that you never knew he had a connection to, and so on. But I guess still exploring different ways of how money can exchange hands within the drug gang, which the whole lottery thing was new to me, but we'll talk about that in a second.
I'll say quick just about this one scene and just about Henrietta and Terry. We always talk about he's not the person who likes violence, likes to find a solution. But I don't think, and they didn't address it in this episode, and I think they're going to address it in the next episode. I don't think he understands what happens when you have someone who has nothing to lose. They become more violent. It ain't less violent.
Yeah.
Like she's going to become way more violent at this point because you don't put her in a corner. What happens when you put a snake in a corner? It attacks you to get out that corner. You just put her in a corner. It ain't going to be as simple as saying we cut off her supply, so now she's going to be gone. No, you cut off her supply, so now she becomes the new Lamar.
True that.
She becomes the boogeyman. And I'm waiting to see how they play this with Henrietta because it's going to be interesting.
Yeah. Agreed. And let's not forget how connected she is. So while she may not be able to sell, we see that she easily can just get a care package from somebody that we had not seen before, thus her uncle. But we'll talk about that in a minute. We go back to the strip club because Meech is getting that community head in the back of the club and lets her know, I don't got time for no girl right now. She said, oh, this top tier corniest line of the episode. Oh, because you're married to the game?
Oh man, I thought the same thing when she said that. I said, wow, when have strippers cared about like relationships? Who the fuck is out here wifing strippers in strip clubs? if I get head from you in a strip club, in all honesty, you're never going to be my girl. Did you know what you just did?
Yeah.
I ain't Andre 3000. This ain't Prototype. It ain't cool for you to do some shit like that in the club. Nah. No. But it was very interesting that, and I think it speaks more to Meech than it does to girls, that he feels the need to explain to a stripper who's giving him head, I'm not looking for a girl. Like, Meech they must know, like, hey, if you get him, he gonna trick off when you gonna fall in love with you.
Hey, my man Meech is a top tier feminist, okay? And what he gonna do? He gonna support these independent contractors out here, okay?
Hey, no. He supports
small business owners,
but the two daughters he got. Oh man, them little girls ain't been shown but in one episode. He's doing all these strippers, Joe.
Yeah, they are definitely up next for the Queen Child's Project 2.0. Because man, who are they? Go back to the restaurants and we see customers. I had to note it that like they had customers and they're leaving, and those customers leave, and what do you know? Good old Vince showed up. This got us all over Markeisha. This man out here threatening to tell the IRS, and Terry's response is how his business is legit, and so is he. I mean, I forgot what we said about Vince last week. But we talked about how he was Yeah. How we say, oh, maybe Markeisha may flip him to work with Terry or something or this or that. My man he's a bona fide skirt, man. He came in threatening I've never heard nobody in my life threaten somebody. I mean, I guess you can't say I'm gonna call the cops because he is a cop. So I guess he had to figure out another way to get some alphabet boys on him. The IRS. What did you think when you heard that?
That is the worst alphabet boy to get on, nigga. Look here.
You can't alert them though. The IRS don't take tips from anybody.
They damn sure don't. They damn sure don't. But you know what the fuck the IRS will do? They'll come to you 8 years later and hit you with shit out of the blue, and you be like, what did I do to y'all? The IRS has a worse interest rate than Capital One. Like, the IRS interest rate is ridiculous, Joe. Like, and you'll never pay them off. But again, this is just his way of attempting to scare Terry. Yeah. Because he still views Terry as a kid. In the end, he brings it up multiple times in this episode that he views him as a kid.
Yeah.
But if he was with Boone, with Markeisha, I'm assuming you understand the business that Terry is in and what can possibly happen to you for threatening him in his business. Like, it makes Vince is bugging. He need to go back to Sisters. He's been on the Tyler Perry show than he is.
Hey, shout out to Tyler Perry, who basically owns BET, who got all of his shows renewed. I ain't never seen nothing like that ever in my life. They said every show you got on here renewed.
hey, no questions asked either. No questions asked. And then greenlit 2 new shows. Like, damn.
I think
this nigga still writing he writes every episode. So you know all of Jones is bad. Like, it's ridiculous at this point, Joe. It's ridiculous.
Hey, yo. He's truly one of a kind, man. So after that, we get Meech leaving the club. And while Meech is leaving and Duffy and them, they're talking about what they're gonna do. Meech, this verse, first of all, again, you talked about. I don't want to spend too much on our location, how things go, but like anybody out there, if you've ever been somewhere, you know you in a territory, a hood, a setting, a location, and you know something could pop off. You're glad that you got to your car. You just want to get home at that rate, right? That's always the goal every night. Just want to get home, right? Mm-hmm. This man Meech then got rolled up on, then got a body dropped off to him, then got in a fight outside of it, and he decides to get out the club. His boys leave, and he just very gingerly takes his time. To me, it was completely foreshadowing that something was coming, but also if you really dive into like Meech as the character, this is top tier obliviousness. Like, hey, sir, hello?
Meech has no situational awareness
at all.
And this whole episode proved like boy, pussy clouds his mind completely. Just completely. It just takes away everything from him, Joe. Because here, like, you got rolled up on by a stripper. Like, and surprised. She surprised him. That is insane, Joe. Because I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know who. You could see foreshadowing someone's going to roll up on him. I didn't think it would be Angel. I thought maybe it would be Glock, Remy,
no.
somebody.
So this the first time when he's out there is when the Red Dogs rolled up. But you're right.
No, yes.
But you're right.
Either time.
It happened again.
I forgot about when the Red Dogs rolled up on him. Yeah, and when the Red Dogs rolled, it didn't make any sense because he didn't even pull off. He in the car smoking weed in front of like danger, Will Robinson, danger. Like something should be going off in his head. Like
his ass lost in space. His ass is definitely lost in space.
Again, Meech just don't. I think it's a situation where everything is weighing heavy on him, and I'm assuming they're showing that he's spacing out as everything is weighing heavily on him. Which, I mean, that's the only logic I can come up with. He's spacing out, and that's what's putting him in these vulnerable situations of him not pinpointing everything. Granted, this was a good thing because then he got to, I guess, notice something that he should have always noticed. Because we've been waiting when we're going to get back to the main purpose that we saw in the first episode of the car compartments, and we know by the documentary what that leads to.
And if you all aren't putting the pieces of the puzzle together, like the Red Dogs checking interior compartments within the car, I'm sorry, not at this rate. He was able to see how the Red Dogs were busting people and where they were inspecting in the car, which realized that he had to be more clever about how they were moving the weight, which then goes back to when they were with who was he, a boxer or whoever who had the car that had all the compartments in it.
With all the compartments that you could hit the switches for, because they ain't have MPVs in this time period. Because everybody knew in the mid-90s, if you had an MP, man, you could have so much work everywhere, Joe. It was so many compartments in that little monster fake ass minivan. And like it was just trying to find ways to trick the police as much as humanly possible.
Yep. So they get back to Meech home, and now they're just talking about how the game is different now, and they got to figure out ways to be ahead of the Red Dogs. But at the same time, keeping eyes on Glock, keeping eyes on Remy. But Meech says that he's going to meet with Claude because this is a way of getting to Remy and realizing that they got to go about things different. You know, coming up with a way with peace. You know, Remy and his tactic is not good for anybody, and ultimately the calming goal is to take down Glock because the MKs, they got the guns, they got the bodies, you know, as of right now, they are ruling Atlanta, and that's not good for business. You know, they're the top dog. We go back to the Flenory home, and we got a little gospel being preached there, and we see LaWanda is affected by the words of the pastor there. So we'll touch on that in a second, where what she took from that little sermon that they had going on in there, and Lucille, they still trying to get Lucille to be assistant pastor, but she's not sure. You know what that doubt is called? The devil out here trying to block her from walking.
Block her blessing.
Yeah, block her blessing and walking with God, walking with
Christ.
Yeah, walking with Christ, because she knows she got
to leave Charles. That's what it is. That's what it is. I'm not gonna bless it till she leaves Charles. That's what he said. He's like, nope, no, my child, leave him.
Back at the restaurant, we do get to meet. We at a restaurant, excuse me, because not Terry's restaurant. We do get now the meet of Claude and Meech, and this is Meech letting her know about going around Remy to work. You know. Because with everything that's happening in Atlanta, with all of the emphasis of with the Olympics coming to Atlanta, you know, all eyes are on them, which means like this is just a heightened purpose for the Red Dogs here. So understanding like we got to be smart about how we do things, you know, and I mentioned earlier how Glock is the enemy, but in this way he realized like no, our true enemies is the red dogs. We have to be more clever in order to figure out how we're going to move the product, and we got to be on the same page in doing so. And how, Remy's going about things isn't good for business here. But as I mentioned earlier, he says, okay, cool. How about we have a meet at Platinum Palace? That way everybody could be there. We can talk it over, because nothing happens at Platinum Palace. That's a good place to meet. You know what I mean?
It's the safest place in the world.
Yeah, like we go to Bryant's home, and Bryant is there. He's smoking, he's drinking, he's breaking down, man. He's outside of Kevin's room, and he's down bad, man, to the point that he's necking a bottle of E&J. So he
how bad life gotta be that you are drinking a bottle of E&J
to the noggin.
Been that high. To the noggin. No one drinks E&J to the head. That isn't on crack. Like E&J to the head, that is fucking ridiculous, Jeff. Oh man, and I love it. The point we knew was E&J because the E&J bottle ain't changed in 30 to 40 years, Jeff. Look at that bottle and knew it was E&J. They didn't even have to show the label. You're like, oh yeah, that's E&J. He drinking. Man, life is rough when you ain't got this E&J to drink. No wild turkey, no Alizé, not just E&J straight. God.
And even though Jen is suspended, she still beats down the door like a cop because she's there to check on him, and he hasn't been answering the phones and so on. But that's her boy, man. They definitely have a very particular relationship with one another. But she checks on him even when they're not seeing eye to eye. But she says, man, we got work to do. So go ahead and get clean and let's get to it. And right after that, they are out on surveillance where they see Tyson, who happens to be Henry's right-hand cousin. Mm-hmm. And this is where they sort of make this declaration, Jen and Brian, about, maybe we make this all a family affair, and bury both of them. And he's speaking about Tyson and Henry. And we're going to do this in honor of Kevin and Kobe. We also get Jen saying something that we've been saying all this time, but she, for the record, says like it felt good having a sister. So like, that's how she's taking this death. And for Brian, Brian doesn't want to lose anybody else. And even to the point where he says, Jen, like we can't afford to lose anybody else. Your father can't afford to lose you. I can't afford to lose you. You can't afford to lose me. There's been so much death within this circle of folks here. So while they're trying to figure out how they're going to go about this plan, and one to like stick together or separate, the whole Scooby-Doo thing, it says like we can't afford to take any losses here. Just to the point, if you ask me, they both didn't take the appropriate route here. Like, Jen going behind enemy lines by herself with Henry is a little risky there. Very risky.
And Brian still blaming everyone for Kevin's death but himself. Like, I mean, it's just going to blame Meech and Terry because they did this. Yeah. Not everything you did. Not paying no attention to your child when he was getting bullied and everything else, which led to him killing someone. None of that matters. It's Terry and Meech's fault, though. Okay.
Yep.
Black parenting 101. When all things hit the fan, blame someone else. Nothing to do with me.
We get inside this random store where we see T and Sam, and this is where we see Sam, who is approached about a scratch off, and this is all new to me, but this is where we are aware of like fake scratch offs, and T being curious about what would have happened if you had to pay that off. If they had a fake scratch off, what would you have to do to pay it off? And I think this is where the light bulb starts to go off with T about the potential IRS problem he may have, but ultimately cleaning his money. First of all, the fake scratch off thing, I've never heard of this. I never knew that this was an operation. I mean, I don't play lottery per se regularly. And couldn't tell you the difference between a legit and a counterfeit lotteries or scratch off or any of that sorts. So what was sort of your reaction to this and your thought about this? Have you heard about this? What you got?
Oh, I've heard about fake scratch offs, and niggas try to pull that trick all the time. Like, especially if they try and, like, if they really they will try to pull a fake scratch off. Same thing like people who duplicate lottery tickets and try to pull off fake lottery wins and shit. But they only do the small ones that can be played out in the store, because if it can be paid out in the store, if I present it to them, maybe the store will pay it out before it's certified, and then I can run off with the money. So yeah, I've heard about that. The scheme that Terry came up with, though, never heard of anybody thinking of that scheme in a way of cleaning their money through the IRS, because, and it's not talked about in this episode, to pull off a lottery scheme that cleans money, that means someone has to buy lots of lottery tickets till they get to a winning ticket. And then you have to clean it through that way. But yeah, I did like what he said. Like, no one's going to turn down money immediately. Like, if you hit, and I say you hit for $10,000, you can either turn this in to them, or I give you this much money right now. Who the hell's going to say no?
Yeah,
nobody. Not in the hood. Not niggas who play numbers every day. Hell nah.
Not to my grandma that go play my numbers, baby.
Hey, my grandma every week. Fuck every day. It was a number. Pick 3, pick 4, pick 5. These my numbers. Go play my numbers and bring me back a pack of cigarettes.
You know the better. Numbers was not spelled with an ER at the end. It was this numbers with a Z.
Numbers. Go play my numbers. Worse yet, growing up in the hood, when you go to a corner store and I'm 7 and the guy gives me the numbers and cigarettes, take them. Hey, that's how you know you grew up in the hood, Joe. When the dude at the corner store know everybody. And it's like, oh, you play your grandmother numbers? Yes. Here, take her cigarettes and her RC cola, because that's my grandmama drunk. And then when I play my mama numbers, it's here her numbers and her Virginia Slims. And you take them back.
Hey, bro, why you do her like that? Not the Virginia Slims.
Hey, my mama used to. I thought that was the only cigarette that existed for the longest time. And I thought they was cool, because all the little white girls in tight jeans smoke Virginia Slims. Like, man, my mama smoked Virginia. She cool because she smoked Virginia Slims, and she had a little cigarette burst.
Oh man,
like, you couldn't tell her shit back in the day.
But it was interesting to me, because unless I was just under a rock, and you all know it and know everything, this whole Sam character, I was like, where did he come from, and where did this T and Sam relationship come about? But
I ain't the only one. I thought I was the only one who was lost. I'm like, who the fuck is Sam, and why? And I'm piecing it together like, okay, maybe was he one of the original drivers for Charles' business, or did he work at the plant with Charles? I don't know who the fuck Sam is. But again, our audience will let us know. Like, y'all forgot Sam was in season 1.
How you gonna do recaps? Do your homework. What's wrong? Did you really watch it? All that.
Nigga, I don't know who Sam is. Okay, he caught me off guard. He a new ass character to me, but yeah, him and T have an amazing relationship.
Oh man, I'm just looking at my notes, man. Wait till we get to these next few scenes. So anyway, we go back to the Flenory home, and Lucille again, really still dragging her feet on that assistant pastor position. They're trying to get her to commit, but she's not sure. And then we get LaWanda, who says like she was touched by the pastor's sermon, and says like, she has to prepare for a future without Terry, because he is very clear that he doesn't want to be with her. But she said she wants to go to cosmetology school. And I think again, this is just really these are little details about Terry's baby mother that they want to make sure that you understood what kind of drove her to some of these things she did in real life. But Charles comes in, and Lucille basically should just have said it just like this. But Charles, you glowing. Because Charles come in and he getting ready to because he got recommended to play for the Campbell brothers. And when he got that offer, Lucille's loving that. She loves when Charles is in his whole music wave. And he says like, will you come by? I hope you can come by if you're free, if you can make it. I cannot believe She's now go ahead and defend this. Now, I'm not saying you're wrong about Lucille. I'm not saying you're wrong about Lucille at all, but this one's wild. He says, will you come if you can make it? Her response is, can I bring Maurice? What did you
look at her setting boundaries, letting you know up front, I done found a new nigga. So if my new nigga could come, I gladly come and see you play. But I don't need no confusion that we together because I'm bringing my new nigga. So if my new nigga can come, I gladly come. It fucked Charles' head up. She said, I love this scene. I absolutely loved it. Because this is what's needed. Just to tell her, move on, my brother. Move on. She just invited her new nigga to your event to watch, so he could watch you play instruments on stage. Yeah, okay. Lucille Pell, I'm telling you.
Yeah. Die.
That's why she can't take that assistant pastor position. Because she out here moving niggas better than the Lord. So she like, I can't take that position.
Hey dog, you's a wild dude, bro. We get now outside of this corner store in the car. We see Nicole, we see Breeze, and these little kids are being grown. That's what the old folks say. Y'all out here being with it. Oh no. You know what they used to say back in the day? You being fresh. You know, when you out of control. Yeah, you out here being fresh.
Mm-hmm.
But nonetheless,
ass out here drinking and shit. Mm-hmm.
I got so many questions about this scene because Breeze decides to make it official in a very elementary way of giving Nicole the paper that says, will you be my girlfriend? Yes or no? And she says yes and takes a kiss. I had no problem with that, except for they immediately follow it after chugging a drink. That ain't a soda. It ain't no damn soda. It's damn sure some liquor or some beer, whatever it is. And then I immediately say, if they're in the backseat, who the hell is driving this car? How old? What?
But Nicole's supposed to be 15. So, you know, the legal age of driving is 16. Somebody's old enough to drive.
Who old enough to buy a drink?
It's Detroit. Is anyone asking for ID? Like, we ain't gonna act like somebody, or we ain't gonna act like they ain't paying. You know what you normally, come on. You know, you pay the normal drunk outside the liquor store to go on that jump.
You remember that?
Some Mad Dog, My Dog 2020, or 211 when it came out. I remember when 211 came out, and I just had to have one. And you pay the drunk, but like, I'll buy you one, and you buy me one. And you bring it back to me. That's probably the way they're kids. Not kids think, you know. I'm surprised the no passing still happened in high school, so that's not overly surprising, especially 15, 16. You still passing notes, you know, you never know. You either passing notes or her girl come to you, be like, you know, my girl really like you and all that other shit. But you know, I did like that. It's a sweet moment to show that they're still kids making kid mistakes.
Facts. Okay, I'm with that 100%. They get to a chop shop now, and this is where Meech working on getting those hidden compartments done, the stash spots, and this is all counter tactics for the Red Dogs. Inside of the corner store now, we get Breeze and his homie talking about, now, how old are they again?
Nicole is 15. I don't know how old Breeze fast ass is, but Nicole is supposed to be 15.
Because my man
Nicole and Terry are only like 3 years apart. So we got to really keep that in mind also. They're only like 3 years apart. So it's not a big gap between Nicole and Terry. But yes. Yeah. Like about
they 15. Out here. My man talk about hitting it raw. But you know, you need these, and I appreciate Breeze trying to hold on to his innocentness. Cause he's like, nah, we're not doing that. You know, we're not moving that fast, whatnot. But at the same time, too, the Lord placed Terry in the right place at the right time because he peeped Nicole over and he goes over there and in true big brother fashion, he yanks her out the car. Nicole talking about, we out here studying, yet they're drinking. And Terry lays the law down on these little boys, man, because they talk about some chill. Terry talk about what? Anyway, Nicole is not shy of taking shots because he says, while Terry says, I'm going to tell mom or dad or one of them, he said, she says, I thought snitching was frowned upon in your line of work. First of all, what did you think about little fast ass Nicole and Breeze and
I give it
all
up
of this
to Nicole.
foolishness?
She's 1,000% right. Nigga, I think what as an audience, what we really got to realize, Nicole and Terry aren't that far apart in age. And Terry had a kid probably by the time or the age Nicole is. How dare you talk about me being fast and you got 2 kids and you are still like 18 years old? No, nigga, you know, that's not your right. That is not your right. And Nicole is right. Nigga, you don't snitch in your line of business. What you snitching for now? Turn that blind eye, nigga. Well, that one eye, because you only got one. Turn that up one eye, nigga. Like, what you doing focusing on her and Breeze? Like, it's a kid response, and that's what you're expecting. Because Nicole is coming to her own. And she's very, very forceful about it. Like, y'all gonna stop treating me like I'm a little kid.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the way they're setting Nicole up, because this is a season where she separates herself from everyone, where she understands what her brothers are doing. She doesn't like it. She understands what her mother and father are going through. She doesn't like it. Breeze is her escape.
Yeah.
And normally when you get teenage girls and you get to escape, we know what path that leads down. And she's being very much like, this is my life, and you're not going to interject yourself into it when your shit ain't together. Like, she's becoming the voice of reason amongst everybody, because she just recently watched one of her best friends get killed in front of her. Like, you have to give Nicole grace just for that reason alone, to fully understand the trauma that she's been through, the distrust that she sees in her family, and everything they've exposed her to. Where do you think she's supposed to go with this? At least she got a young man who seems to want the best for her.
Yeah.
Because at 16 and 15, if you think I cared about hitting it, condoms didn't exist until I was like in my mid-20s. Like, you have got to be kidding me, Joe.
Oh boy. They're gonna be in the comments calling you.
That don't mean I didn't use them. Understand that. But exist mean I did not buy them. I was given condoms by a month.
They about to be calling you Texas Pete out here.
But again, but I love it because this is the way young boys talk. This is the way a young girl who's going through the things Nicole is going through. This is the way she's choosing to handle it. And Terry, at this moment, should have been more of a big brother to her than trying to be an authoritative figure, because that didn't work, and it wouldn't work for her.
I'm not mad at Terry, but I do think at this point of their life that the conversation felt too righteous instead of more curious.
Yes,
it should have been more of like the idea. It should have been a little bit more exploring about their options here and what to do.
Well, what are you doing? It's simple. What are you doing? Well, I want to do this and that. Why do you want to do this and that? You see, and
that is typical T.
Example. You see where I'm at. Do you want to be LaWanda? If you don't want to be LaWanda, why are you out here doing this?
I think that's. I honestly think that conversation is next episode. 1,000%. Yeah, I think in the signs. I mean, we all had our little homies that you gotta do what you gotta do, or siblings or whatever it may be. So I'm not mad at T on that note, but I still think that Nicole and her friends are like having very mature conversations that they feel very right in what they do, and that's a little interesting to me. Somebody driving. That's all I know. With a car.
I got 3 of them. You ever met a wrong teenager? Ain't none of them niggas wrong.
Yeah.
They know what they know about life more than you could ever know.
Yeah.
That's the way you feel when you're a teenager. Like, the moment you hit 15 or 16, you feel like I know what I'm doing already. And I love that they're showing them this way, because that makes it more realistic, is that you're showing them this way.
Yeah. All right, so they're in Techwood now. They got this meeting, and Cloud is there letting folks know they're about to work with Meech. because Remy's stuck in his own ways and that they need to focus on the Red Dog because they're the real enemies. But Remy shows up, talking about fuck Meech, beats Claude down, have a knife to his neck. And, this is interesting because very traditionally, this would have been a threat and let him go or something of some sorts of later.
Yeah.
But Remy decides to go 0 to 100 on this. Literally, he goes from like immediately like, I don't know how I'm feeling about this. Like, this is a little bit of disrespect. Actually, this is disrespect. And he cuts off his tongue. And then that wasn't enough because that would have easily been a statement to be made. But then he stabs, he slits his throat and he says, "This is our city. We run this." Now, please note, this man, Remy, really went 0 to 1,000. He went from like a threat to like a physical action to killing him to decapitating him. This all happened in different elevations of I'm mad. Like, oh, for real? I raised you. We were like brothers. And he was like, I feel disrespected. That's how you treat
your brother?
He's like, I feel disrespected. So so I'm letting you know I feel disrespected. By the way, I'm gonna cut your tongue off because of your defiance. I'm not mad at that. Okay, I'm just gonna kill you. Oh, by the way, and then after that, I'm just gonna take the whole head off because Meech needs to see a man. I say all that to say this had nothing to do with Clyde.
Nothing. Everything to do with Meech. Everything to do with Meech. Nothing to do with Clyde. Had nothing to do with him. He became collateral damage. Because Remy doesn't know how to do, but it's so counterproductive. Because I love the point that they panned and showed the guys their faces. Yeah. Because at this point, if I'm one of them, you just killed your best friend. Because you're mad at Meech. Why would I trust you?
Yeah.
In any way, shape, form, or fashion, why would I trust you?
Yeah.
Like once you turn your back on a person who I believe or the world believes is the person you should trust the most, you're no longer trusted. It's like wrestling analogy. It's like Jimmy when he turned on his brother, and you're like, that's the person you're supposed to trust the most. How do you turn on Jay? Like the moment you turn on him, I can't trust you anymore. Because if you could turn on him, you could turn on anybody. And that's the way they look when Remy did what he did. Is if you could turn on Claude that way, and that vitriol that you had for him, when you slit his throat and killed him, why would we think we're any different?
Yeah. Entirely agree. Had nothing to do with his folks in Techwood. Had nothing to do with Cloud. Straight up about Meech here. But nonetheless, we go to outside of the projects where we see the Red Dogs out there. Called my man Officer Winslow. Definitely one of the jokes of the episode here. But this is where we see one of the BMF folks. They're testing out the compartment. So they set them up. So they baited the Red Dogs. The Red Dogs get out there and realize the Red Dogs get out there. They get him. It's a lot of interrogating. My man pleaded his innocence. They do find the compartment inside the door. They realize it's baking soda. They're not outside of Techwood. They're outside the projects here. And then they get a call to get to Techwood, so they let them go. But they're also pissed because it was baking soda. We get the Blaze spot, and the Caldens is there. And with that, I'm sorry, I'm getting myself confused. We'll go to Blaze's spot with Henrietta and them. And the Caldens, they say the Caldens keeps calling, but this is where we see Henry's uncle come through, drops off a bag, which basically saves her. And he says, "This stays between us. I never like how my brother, which is her father, treated her. And for all you've been through, you deserve better." And so they make a peace. This makes Henry emotional a little, if you could notice it or not. But it does help her clear her debt, and she should be good to go with the Caldens. But much like her cousin was saying here, her cousin, what's his name? Forgetting his
The
name.
one
Oh,
guy that ain't
Tyson.
on another
Tyson.
Yeah, Tyson.
Yeah, Tyson. Yeah, Tyson says like, man, I never liked how your father like treated you for real. Like for real, like move on from him. Like it's interesting family dynamic there, but I think there's a lure to Henry because I think there's more about Henry's story that we know. This is why the uncle's there. This is why the two cousins who are always been, supportive of him. And I honestly think it's because no one likes Blaze, how he flipped from being the Fed to being this drug dude in power to like diving in politics. Like that is kind of flaky. Nobody likes people switching extreme professions like that, especially ones that has power and influence but also has griminess attached to it. So I think that's what it is. I think they expected Blaze to be a street dude forever, permanently, to relinquish some of those relationships, and if you're gonna be the top dog, then you need to impose that presence in it. And I think the uncle didn't like that, the cousin didn't like that, and I think that's what Henry is trying to emulate. So, even at this point, everybody's there for Henry to a point she gets emotional, says, you always say the right thing. Because we get to T's house, and T is there getting, Charles is there getting a cut from T. Charles is talking about how he's,
Marquisha's house, but go ahead.
And Charles is here talking about he doing all this to keep it together. But he blames Dr. Montclair, the one who delivered Alexis, that he's in the way of all of this. But Charles is like, yeah, you think I could get us, a job at the restaurant, man, so I could get some extra cash? And T said, listen, man, here's a cash advance. Show mom a good time. And then once again, he declares that he's doing all this to keep the family together. Meech call, and this is them talking in code, using food analogies about how everything in Atlanta isn't going the way he thought it was going to go in terms of moving the product. And T is now showing the side of like things is good here. And this is to kind of put it into the layman's terms here. Meech is struggling with the movement of the drugs because of the Red Dogs. T is doing good because he cut off Henrietta, and he is going to basically, as they said, cut off the head of Medusa so that he doesn't have to worry about her, and he can have be able to move his product, have the Chaldeans involved, and also clean his money. So like we see from episode to episode them switching in terms of like who's good, who's not good, and so on and so on. I talked a lot between these last few scenes. What did you think about there's a lot you could actually give reaction to if it ain't Charles talking about he's doing all this to keep the family together.
First, we're gonna get the reaction to the daddy who's been too good to take drug money up until he think he gonna lose Lucille, and magically you take the drug money right out of Terry's hands. Because clearly, you look at Charles' face, he knew exactly where that money came from. And you asked to work for your son, knowing that his business is a front. You know there ain't no goddamn legitimate place. You know that's a front, and you know how they make their real money. But all that shit went to the wayside when you think you can make right and be with Lucille, which you have no chance for because she just asked to bring the doctor to your goddamn show. Like, get over it. Get over yourself. It's over. It's over. It's over. Between Terry and Meech, that conversation is always interesting because we're starting to see more and more the separation of their businesses.
Yeah.
And the way they run their businesses. Like Meech, weirdly, if people really pay attention to it, his bigger picture is grander than Terry's is.
1000%.
Like the first thing he brought up with his other homeboy was, moving drugs is about to become a federal crime. This is around the drug laws when they fully changed and everything became fed. If you got caught with crack, not necessarily cocaine. Cocaine was a fair charge, but crack was a bigger fair charge.
Yeah, so this is the conversation about Olympics in Atlanta. And
this is around Papa Joe's drug bill. The reason why people didn't want to vote for him when he ran for president is because of this bill that Meech is talking about. But the point that Meech is thinking big time, like, we need to find ways to hide this. And Meech is bringing it up to Terry, like, we need to do this. And Terry's thinking, I'm fine. Now we understand why they ran their businesses the way that they did when BMF became BMF one side and BMF the other side. And Terry's not seeing the bigger picture. He's worrying about one threat that he sees in front of him, and that's Henrietta. Meech has threats that are equivalent or bigger than Henrietta in front of him, but he also understands this red dog threat, these laws that are about to change, are a bigger threat. We need to handle all of them in one time. So it's the single-minded focusedness of Terry versus Meech focusing on multiple different things that he understands could harm the business. That's why I like these food analogy, recipe conversations between them two in talking in code this way.
Yeah. All right, so we get to the Tech Woods, and the Red Dogs are there fucking it up, just trashing people's places and causing a lot of panic. But Glock is there peeping everything. He calls T'Chaka, let him know to meet him in Miami, but first they need to handle Meech. Andrew's right there. And yeah, the MKs are at Techwood, and they also, the ones that are there, got. Gambling spot now. We are there, and this is where T explains to Markeisha about how he plans to clean his money through the lottery scheme. And as this is a way to clean cash, you know, and again, a lot of this was just going over my head, but like, again, this was all for him to avoid any potential issues with the IRS. And Markeisha is there and not just being taught to. She's understanding, processing, and also asking appropriate questions I would have asked, honestly. But then, you know, after that, she boosts her man head up and said, like, you're just so much better when Meech isn't calling the shots, to the point that he even starts to drink because he's feeling himself now. Note, please note.
Yep.
Go back to the most safe. Oh, you want to say something? I'm sorry.
No. I said 100% right.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you out here taking drinks and shit. You doing everything against your own code because of, I swear, I don't know what is Tender Dick Terry. Like, that's just all I thought of when it did with this scene yet. Like, boy, you falling right back into that trap all over again.
Yeah, even called him my woman. Called her my woman. Put a label on that.
Hey, man, he in love. He done bought her house. Like I told you.
Did he?
Yeah, that's Markeisha house. We already know now. We can stop the faking. That's Markeisha house.
We get to the safest place in Atlanta, Platinum Palace, where Meech is going to, as he tells everybody, I'm gonna put everything on pause to be forgot the bad way to move to work. I realized that this is a funny thing that no one picked up on. How his little, what do you call her? Because that's what's the face's cousin. Mo's cousin, so I guess you just call her little cousin. That's what we do. We call her my cousin, so that's little cousin. But understand that little homie is in the club because she has a fake ID. I don't know if that's going to come into play for something else, but they made it clear that's
brought it up.
Moving around, because she has that connect. I think that's going to come into a play when they get to Miami.
Yeah,
that's what I think. But they talked about the MKs at Techwood. Everybody getting knocked. And the stripper at Meech here showing interest. Interesting what's going to come with that. I knew instantly. I was like, oh, they throwing it at him. They up to something here.
You can't trust strippers. I don't know why people didn't realize that.
Yeah. As if I would still think that some of them still have some ties to Greenie too, but you know, I guess they just got nailed way off the show. Yeah. We get to the nightclub now because we got a gospel band and Charles is playing up front and center. Listen, Charles is a true musician because he out here playing the keyboard. We know he can play the guitar. He clearly can play the drums because he taught Meech. My man can play any instrument there. So he's up there on the boards. Lucille in the crowd, in the vibe. Before I go any further, did you think that Maurice is going to be there?
Not only did I think Maurice was there, I was confused because I didn't think that was gospel music. I was super confused. That sounded like I heard blues drums, I heard a blues keyboard, and then I heard someone singing about the Lord. I was super confused in a smoky nightclub. I'm sorry. What the fuck is going on here?
Hey,
what is going on here?
I'm gonna save my soul so that I can go to the pearly gates when it's all said and done here. But I'm going to tell you, this is so uncommon I mean, this is so, what you think is uncommon is so common that it's wild. It's wild.
Why
It's
is
wild.
Lucille getting hot and bothered over gospel music? Baby, you are not receiving the right message here. Because she like, oh, Charles, I just love the way you play.
Oh my!
If that's gospel music, that's the wrong reaction to that song being played. And why is he playing in the smoky nightclub?
Lucille's in there, and the whole vibe, though, as we know, Charles is playing with the Campbell brothers, even to a point that he's getting his flowers from another band member, and also getting a card, because he has possibly new opportunity coming down the line. But this is, I'm sorry, I said this earlier, but this is when Lucille talked about she hadn't seen Charles this energized in so long. Yeah. But Lucille questions about, which I think may really be the root of everything, is Lucille maybe very low-key potentially regrets having kids so early. She says, I like this fun. And she questions about, what if we had not gotten married so fast? And Charles goes the route of saying this was the Lord's will. It was meant to be. But Lucille, I think, is asking a legitimate question. Just how would I like be different if we had not got married so fast? I don't think it has nothing to do with her not wanting her kids or not loving her kids. She just says, like, what would life look like? And when you kind of track the timeline of different issues that Lucille has had, it does root back to this. She says we had more time to have fun, to explore, to adventure, to have time for self, to build and stack money, to not have our backs against the wall with debt, to have to struggle, and beyond the other complications and challenges that they had as parents. Like, I'm not mad at all. I think if Charles really, 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 really want to get Lucille back, that right there would have been the moment it would have happened, if he was able to recognize what she was really trying to say there. Him going the divine route of this is the Lord's way, had it for us. He read it. He read a script. It felt very impersonable, and I think she was the most vulnerable she's been with him in a while. So it's all right though, because Dr. Montclair.
Hey now.
Go and give her that fun.
But you would think Charles would find, it would have clicked to him. That's why she's attaching herself to the doctor so fast. Is because the doctor represents that freedom that she wished she had.
Yeah.
It's nothing like a mom who's been a mom forever, who finally feels, I need my time.
Yeah.
And that's what it is with Lucille. And Charles can't give her that, because Charles is still stuck on family. We need to stick together, but he fucked Mabel, but we need to stick together and all this other stuff. And she's like, what happened if we didn't have kids? It's a legitimate question that I think all parents who had kids in their 20s or teens, they ask themselves that question. What would my life look like if I would have waited?
Yeah.
It's a legitimate question that should lead to me, with them, a very deep discussion on what their life would look like. Would they be together? Did they only get married because she got pregnant?
Yeah, 1,000%.
If you wasn't her person like you think you are.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you right now that I have a hunch, because I'm still on Dr. Montclair's antics, that I feel like they're both using each other to escape. That's
escaping? Wealth, freedom,
or a whole nother situation.
Oh, he got another family. Oh shit! You're just gonna make the doctor a bad person. Dr. Montclair ain't been nothing but honest and sweet and kind to Lucille. He got no family.
Let's move on. We're back at the gambling spot, and Terry and Marquisha, multiple drinks here, and Vince is back because no one asked for that. But Terry steps up and lets Vince know he knows his entire life and schedule to a T, and Marquisha brushes him off, letting him know that T is all the man she needs. They're at another night spot, and this time we have Jen and Henry vibing, and this is truly a way we haven't seen Henry before. But with all of this though, they're confiding in one another.
Yeah.
Where Henry says she never knew a mother, but her dad says things are tense. Jen talks about her sister and her mom who left, which is I believe this is all a true story. So she's not playing a character. She's just wearing a disguise here. But then a few cops rolls up and she goes in for a kiss to kind of hide herself from being identified. And then we get a exchange of, have you ever been with someone like me? Henry says that to Jen. Jen counteracts and say, have you ever been with somebody like me? And this is a matter of differences attract, opposites attract, but can't lose sight of what's actually happening here. And we are back at the world's safest place in Atlanta, Platinum Palace, where this right here is top tier, the worst scene of this episode. I can't even let this one pass. Drinks were sent to Meech, complimentary of that gentleman over there. Who the hell is sending you drinks, sir? That's not in your crew.
When have we taken drinks from a random nigga?
Ever. Ever. $5 rail, a $5 rail, a $200 bottle of Moet, none of it. None of it.
Not at all. I don't know you, my brother. I'm sorry. I don't know you.
You just made it rain the last day you were in there because you was the man. Now you taking drink. I mean,
and quickly going for the ice. It was no bottle in there. What the fuck?
I think the chasers were coming. They had the sparkler girls then, so no telling where those bottles will swallow it. And they brought up the sign that said Meech. The little sounds they bring. They had that joint queued up. They had King of Atlanta coming down the joint.
Hey, clearly that is bottle service 101 now. Like that's what I was looking for. Like, where the sparklers at?
Yeah, this is a wild scene though. But yeah, you're right. They went right after the ice, and when it went in the ice, we see Klotz head in there, and Remy rolls right up and said, "Techwood is mine again." So,
I get into what Meech checked him because it was the most important thing, and it made Remy turn tail. Which was, how long do you think they're going to be with you when you have nothing for them?
Yeah.
And Remy didn't have an answer because I think this is the key moment where you fully understood he killed his best friend because of his ego and his hatred for Meech with no plan to follow. And Meech pinpointed, like, I'm still going to take everyone from you because you have nothing. Like, how you're not going to be able to feed them, so they're going to come to me anyway. All you did was kill your best friend for no reason.
This is Remy's MO. He's never had a plan. In fact, he's kind of dancing around. Let's just call it what it is. This seems to be the MO across Atlanta, because Stacks was the same way. Like, these folks want to be in power, but don't have plans behind it.
The Stacks plan was to set up Meech from the beginning. So
it's Remy. That's right.
Remy wants Meech. Remy is your Sammy Sam. Like, he is doing that. I'm hunting wabbits. I'm hunting Meech. Like, that's all he cares about. He care about nothing else in the world. So there's not a plan past that. Stack's plan was to kill Meech and move him out the way.
Yeah.
Like, he understood what business was. It almost feels Remy has the slightest idea. He wanted to be Robin Hood of the hood. That backfired on him when he realized, I'm selling in the hood. Clearly, I'm a bigger threat to him than anyone else. And now I also hate Meech. So I'm hurting my business. So when Meech said what he said, and that turn that Remy did, let everyone know he has no faith in being able to keep anybody under him.
1000%. We got a few more scenes to go, so we can wrap up the show tonight. So we're back at T's restaurant. Sam introducing everyone to T. This is the Cowdens folks. And the question about why Henry owed so much money, but says, I'm putting her out of business. I would supply you a weight at better price just for in return. Just make sure you cut Henry off for good. Everybody seems to be on board. Yeah, they had questions about could they trust T. I mean, this is a very simple scene and bit of dialogue, but the Cowdens want Sam to vouch for T, and T promised to give them weight at a better price. So they just need to cut off Henry. We go back outside of Platinum Palace. This is where Angel sneaks up, and
Yeah.
says, warns him that Glock is up to something. Says, I see you still wearing my shit, because she said, because it smells like you. And as I mentioned, feminist Meech says, all I ever wanted you to do was to stand on your own feet, be safe, and know your worth. And well, if you're going to work at Magic City, Platinum Palace, there's only one more place you need to work at after that. And Angel says, I'm going to Miami to check out a new club. So check out
King of Diamonds.
King of Diamond Mondays.
You already know. You already know where Angel going to. She clearly going to King of Diamonds.
Live on Mondays, King of Diamond Sundays. Get her. Yep. Go ahead, go there. And coming to the stage, Angel, our Southern Belle. Angel. Nonetheless, we get back to Jen and Henry. Henry's asking about Jen's scars, and we get more explanation about it. I thought this was kind of heartfelt, when she says, I punish myself so no one else can. Henry relates to that. But as they start to get into it, Jen looks over at this picture and it immediately takes her out of everything. It is definitely a picture of Henry, Blaze, and I want to say that third person is Gar.
Right. Oh,
is it Bryant?
I couldn't tell the difference. I said, is that a young Bryant?
I think
it could be Gar.
It could be Bryant too. Either way, it's somebody that she's close with that at some point, whether it's Bryant to remind her that she cannot fall for this, or Gar, like, as a huge development of like, oh shoot, they are really in cahoots, but one of that, she had something to like snap her out of everything that was going down. And she says, I gotta go. Henry, they've been writing Henry really good, man. Jen, like, I gotta go. Henry says, don't you want to come first? What a play on words here.
Look here. That's the slickest line of this episode.
Man, this is definitely not her first time. They just been getting her right with these little slick little gestures. Sweet nothing. She's out here. Oh, you are
right there. Hey, I gotta go. Don't you want to come first? Look, you can't beat that line. You can't beat that line. You can't beat that line. That's a hell of a line.
All right, so we get to the hotel now. We got those two strippers that was basically on Meech the entire time in the club. And the gunman's there. One of the strippers shot. Meech throws this gunman. First of all, they're both terrible shooters, but they throws this gunman out the window and kills him, only to find out that this gunman was T'Chaka, not from the Black Panther, but Glock's guy. He falls down into out of the hotel on top of a car. If I ain't know no better, this is a scene out of God, we just brought this up a couple episodes ago. What's Steven's Mark for Death? It's
clearly a scene for Mark for Death. That's all I thought. When Hatcher broke into the room where the cop was sleeping with the prostitute and the Jamaican was trying to fight Hatcher. Because Hatcher flew out the window too. I thought look here. Everything in this season is going back to Mark for Death. I am telling you. I am just waiting for Glock to say who that is. Like white boy Hatcher. I want him dead.
Hey, real talk. If that's on 4K, I'm about to go ahead and cop that right now. I
watch that movie at least twice a year. I don't give a fuck what else am I doing. You have to watch Mark for Death. And it's just an amazing movie. I'm just saying, it's an amazing movie. But like this whole scene felt that way. A lot of bad shots. We kind of understood that the strippers were setting up Meech. Saying, you can have both of us here. It's situational awareness that Meech just lacks. Of him not thinking, maybe they're trying to set me up. That's why they want to do this. And then we get the worst gun battle ever shown on television.
Ever.
They are 3 feet apart from each other. And no one got hit with a bullet but the stripper in the shoulder.
Oh, boy.
Absolutely insane.
Listen,
and the fight at the end was ridiculous.
My ass is right here, right now. Like, where's this Mark for Death Blu-ray? Real quick, let me get that. I ain't even playing. I'm about to add the cart right now, man. these joints a little expensive for whatever. Anyway, I get to that after this. We got 2 more scenes to go. We go back to Meech crib because Meech acknowledges that them strippers set him up. This is just him and Duffy. They're just reevaluating everything that went down. He says, "Man, people only beef with me if it's over money or pussy." And T, what am I? Oh, and then at this point now, wait, I'm trying to figure out what happened here. So yeah, he's talking to Duffy about the strippers setting him up. Talk about people only beef with him if it has to deal with money or pussy. And now he realizes that he needs to go down to Miami. And Duffy's asking him, man, like, are you sure you want to go behind enemy lines? Because if he finds out, man, it's not gonna be good. And Duffy's very chill about his stuff, but very intentional. He's smart. He's definitely a good person when I have a corner. But it's like Meech is getting ready to head to Miami. We know that's gonna be a whole thing there.
If they don't use the belly house when they go to Miami, the belly house. When DMX ran in that Jonah, he like, I am the real Jamaican Dundada. Like, if you don't use that house in one scene.
Hey yo, you your references, bro. But yeah, other than that, let's see. Now we just get Brian, who's sitting in his car, same as that place we saw him earlier, drinking a lot. And he sees Tyson. They get into a little fight. He kills Tyson, who's Henry's right hand man, with his bare hands. And that's the episode. The only other thing I was going to say, and I don't know if this is the first time or I just missed it plenty other times, but I was looking at this assistant producer. So I already knew and always knew Nicole Flenory, who's been the real Nicole Flenory has been a part of the show. But Roland West, who is the family's best friend, essentially the man across the street, also has a credit. So,
that's the first time I noticed it too.
Yeah, I was just like interesting, but again, it just only signifies that like they got all the right folks involved.
Yeah. Which is the dopest part of this show is that the entire family's involved in making and telling this story.
Yeah.
But we got to talk about again how E&J will make you kill people. That's why I don't drink E&J. Ain't nothing good coming from E&J. I don't give a fuck with it. I don't care how much Spice Adams sells new E&J to y'all that's flavored. It's still E&J. Don't drink E&J unless you planning on fighting and killing somebody with your bare hands.
1,000%. I'm never going to condone this, but if you do have a abusive uncle in your family, we have to talk about what battery pack was in his back.
It was E&J.
Majority of those times, it was E&J. I'm sorry to say, but
not even Wild Turkey can do what E&J can do to you.
Not at all.
And when folks back in the day said brown liquor make you fight, they was talking about E&J. It was not talking about anything else. Crown don't make you fight. Hennessy don't make you fight. E&J make you fight.
And there's only one other option that sits in the same conversation. And if the Seagram's gin is out, the gin make you sin.
Ooh, shit.
Boy, we're gonna end it there. Anyway, that's gonna do it for tonight's episode. Tonight's episode of episode 8 of season 3, Code Red. Folks, as always, get in the comments, let us know your thoughts about tonight's episode. Questions you have from tonight's episode. What did we get right? What did we get wrong? What are you buying into with the storylines? We got 2 more to go this season. And as I mentioned, we'll kick it with you all for the finale, episode 10 on the live. So one more pre-recorded one for you all. And then, we back to the shenanigans. So y'all better be ready. Y'all better be suited and booted and ready to party. But that'll do it for tonight. Thank y'all so much for watching. We'll see y'all back in a week.
Ridiculous.